Listen, if you've ever wondered whether one right choice can flip a life, stay with this. It starts with a hungry teenager, a lost wallet, and a decision that could have gone the other way. Jalen Brooks didn't plan on another night under the pedestrian bridge, but the shelter filled up, and the wind pushed under his thrifted coat. At 17, sleeping on cardboard made him feel older. He closed his eyes and pictured a kitchen where the light was warm and someone said, "Good morning," like it cost nothing. There were years of fridge magnets for report cards, lemon oil on furniture, and his mom humming while stirring spaghetti. Then came layoffs, then rent hikes, then the notices you crumple and smooth as if the creases changed the numbers. When his mom's health failed, she apologized for things she couldn't fix. Jalen lived by a code: stay clean, stay kind, stay moving. He returned grocery carts for quarters, carried boxes for strangers, and split any extra sandwich in half because someone nearby was always hungrier. Most mornings he whispered, "Be the kind of person your future self would want to shake hands with." Dawn rinsed the sky. Behind the bakery, warm steam met cold air, and the woman with flour on her elbows handed him a paper bag. "Yesterday's cinnamon rolls," she said. He ate one on a bus bench and saved the other for later. The city woke, gates rattling up, buses sighing, coffee warming quick hands. A man in a gray coat stepped off a bus with the stride of someone who believed the day had already been paid for. Wind chased his hat, he caught it and kept walking. When the crowd thinned, Jalen saw it, a brown leather wallet on the sidewalk, fallen like a quiet secret. He picked it up, half expecting a shout. No one turned. In the shelter of a doorway he opened it carefully. License, Richard Hale. Business cards. A photo of 2 kids in graduation caps. And cash, more than he'd ever held at once. Hundreds, 50s. His breath tightened. The practical voice started counting. A few bills would mean a room for a week. Gloves that didn't leak wind. A hot meal where no one watched him finish before asking him to move along. No one would know. A man with cards like these wouldn't miss a fraction. Be the kind of person your future self would want to shake hands with. He slid the money back like a librarian shelving something rare. In a hidden pocket, he found a folded note: "Do the right thing, always." The ink was pressed deep by rereading. He didn't believe in omens, but he believed in patterns, and this felt like one. Returning it meant logistics. The address on the license sat across town, in a neighborhood where sidewalks probably got salted first. Bus fare was short by a quarter, so he started walking. The city was a patchwork. Brick warehouses, brownstones with brass numbers, a park where dog walkers knew every name. A drizzle wandered in. He passed a church with a signboard that read, "We're measured by what we return." He huffed a laugh. A volunteer handed him a styrofoam cup of coffee. He thanked her and held the heat until it reached his wrists. At the public library he warmed up and double-checked the address in a phone book. Richard Hale, same street, same number. He copied it onto a receipt and tucked it beside the wallet. The librarian glanced at him over her glasses. Back outside, the drizzle thinned. He kept his hand over the inside pocket, not because he feared his own hands, but because holding it felt like a vow in transit. He passed a window full of winter coats with discount tags that didn't matter to his math. He paused at a community board advertising tutoring and touched the edge of the flyer before letting it go. The neighborhood changed. Trees spread their roots under uncracked sidewalks. Lawns edged themselves. Delivery trucks glided to the curb. Jalen felt every scuff on his shoes. He straightened his shoulders and rang the bell of a townhouse. A chime sounded, and a camera above the door blinked. A woman's voice came through the intercom. "Can I help you?" "I found a wallet," Jalen said. "Richard Hale's. I'm here to return it." A pause. Then, "One moment, please." The door opened. A woman in a blazer stood there, eyes curious. Mr. Hale isn't home, she said. I'm his assistant. I can take it. I understand, he said. I'd like to give it to him directly. It's important. Her gaze did the quick math of gatekeepers. Something in the way he stood, nervous but polite, tilted the equation. He'll be back in 20 minutes, she said. You can wait in the foyer. Warmth moved like a quiet engine inside the house. Polished staircase. A console table with a bowl of oranges. Jalen stepped just inside, careful not to drip. The assistant disappeared down the hall. Jalen studied the photos on the wall, a boy launching a paper boat, a woman laughing, a man leaning against a truck. None of them were the owner of the wallet, but all belonged to someone who kept memories where they could be seen. Footsteps clicked on stone. The assistant returned with a glass of water and 2 shortbread cookies. You look like you could use this, she said. Thank you, he answered. He ate one slowly and saved the other in his pocket. A key turned. The front door opened, and a tall man stepped in, gray coat, calm as if weather couldn't touch him. He shook rain from his cuffs. His expression changed when he saw Jalen. The assistant spoke. Mr. Hale, this young man says he found your wallet. Jalen reached into his inner pocket. He felt the leather and the steady beat in his wrist. He stepped forward and met the man's eyes. Sir, he said, and held it out. I think this belongs to you. Richard Hale looked at the wallet like a familiar book returned after a long loan. He took it, checked the contents with a quick glance, and his shoulders softened. It does, he said. Thank you. The foyer held a breath. Then Richard slid the wallet into his coat and said, Please, don't rush off. I'd like to hear how it found its way back. Jalen stood still, weighing the invitation and the risk, wondering if this was where a right choice might open a door he didn't know how to knock on. Richard Hale stood in the foyer, wallet now secure in his coat pocket, his gaze steady on the boy who had brought it back. Tell me, he said, voice calm but weighted with curiosity, how did you come across this? The assistant lingered by the staircase, watching. Jalen shifted his weight, not sure how much to reveal. He explained about the bus stop, about seeing the wallet fall, about walking across town because he couldn't spare bus fare. He left out the hunger, the shelter, the cold nights. Some things, he figured, didn't need telling. But Hale studied him like someone trained to notice missing details. You walked all that way? Yes, sir, Jalen said. I thought it should get back to you as soon as possible. Silence stretched, filled only by the soft hum of the house. Then Hale gestured toward the sitting room. Come in for a moment. Sit down. Humor me. Jalen hesitated, then followed. The room was warm, lined with books, heavy with the faint smell of polished wood. Hale gestured to a chair, and Jalen perched on the edge of it, every muscle alert. The billionaire didn't ask about the cash, didn't check whether anything was missing. Instead, he asked, What's your name? Jalen. Jalen Brooks. School. Jalen's throat tightened. I used to. Haven't been in for a while. Hale nodded as though that answer explained more than it said. You know, he began slowly, I've lost my wallet before. More than once. And every time, it came back lighter. Except today. He leaned forward. Why didn't you take it? The question pressed hard, not accusing, but searching. Jalen thought of the bills, the warm meals they could have bought, the bed he could have rented. He thought of his mom's voice when she used to say, do right, even when it costs. I guess, Jalen said finally, I want to be someone my future self could respect. Hale sat back. His assistant's expression softened. For a moment, the house seemed to listen. Then Hale said, Do you know who I am? Richard Hale, Jalen replied, remembering the license. Yes. But more than that. I built a company from almost nothing. I've lost everything twice, rebuilt twice. And I've met all kinds of people along the way. Let me tell you something, Jalen, character shows when no one's looking. His eyes sharpened. And today, yours showed. Jalen shifted, uneasy under the weight of praise. I just did what anyone should. No, Hale corrected gently. Not what anyone would. Most would have walked away richer, and I'd have been none the wiser. The older man stood, crossing to a cabinet. He took out a checkbook and paused. What would help you most right now? Be honest. Jalen froze. His stomach growled at the thought of food, his bones begged for a bed, his pride bristled at the idea of asking. I don't want charity, he said carefully. Hale tilted his head. Not charity. Opportunity. There's a difference. The assistant reappeared, as if summoned by the moment, carrying another plate of cookies. She set them down quietly. Jalen stared at the food, then back at Hale. What kind of opportunity? Work, Hale said simply. Work that pays. A chance to show the same honesty you showed with my wallet. I have properties that need caretaking, deliveries that need handling, errands that need someone reliable. You'd earn every dollar. The offer hung in the air, heavy and impossible. Jalen's mind raced. He thought of nights under the bridge, of dividing cinnamon rolls into careful halves, of the way the wallet had felt in his coat pocket. Why me? He asked, still wary. Because, Hale said, you've already passed the test most people fail. You chose right when no one was watching. I trust that more than any resume. Jalen's eyes stung. He looked down, blinked fast, and whispered, I'd like that. I'd really like that. Hale extended his hand. Then let's begin. Jalen shook it, the grip firm and steady, and in that moment, the boy who had walked across the city with a wallet in his pocket felt like he'd crossed a bridge to someplace new. Hale called his driver, insisting Jalen be taken to a warm motel for the night until proper arrangements could be made. Tomorrow, Hale said, you'll start fresh. When Jalen climbed into the sleek car, he glanced back at the townhouse. For the first time in a long while, the future didn't look like survival, it looked like possibility. The drizzle had stopped. Street lamps glowed in puddles, and the city looked softer, like it was ready to forgive. Jalen pressed his forehead to the window, whispering a promise to himself, never let honesty slip, even when it's the hardest choice. Because one act of doing right, even when hungry, had given him more than a full stomach. It had given him a doorway to a life he never thought he'd touch.